Hey y'all, Choice here. Thank you so much for joining me again for another session of Choice Spirit. Here I want to speak a little bit about an addiction. I won't claim it as our. I'm just going to say an addiction. We are, or people, you know how it is, people go to those meetings and they have a difficult time claiming it and actually saying, yeah, I'm so and so and I have an addiction to. Well, let me tell you how crazy the addiction is. We love it so much that we have a propensity, this urge to tune into it every day. You know, yeah, I can speak about the different things that we like to look at and tune into, you know, to help get us through our day, to give us a laugh, to give us some entertainment or some edutainment, whatever you want to call it. But the addiction is so much so, in order for us to, it's difficult for us to put away in order to attract or call forth a better life. Now, let's face it, many are living their best life. Many are doing all the things that they choose to do. Many are living their dreams and aspirations. So we're not so much talking about those because they have addiction to things. They have an addiction, yes. But at least their addiction is helping them to live their best life. Their addiction is attracting people into their lives that are full and joyful and loveful and appreciative and all of that stuff. They're not really having to deal with toxic people. Toxic people usually come in to a nice person's life when the stuff that they are consuming is low vibrational. So you may have a nice person that's kind of like hooked on drama-filled, toxic-filled stuff and information. And so that has to manifest in some way. It doesn't just go by the wayside. It has to manifest in some way. So you got a nice person that's hooked on drama-filled situations, and eventually their life begins to mirror that. And there are no coincidences and where you can say, well, I'll do better, because in some way, some of those things are need to have drama in your life in order for you to grow through the experience. It's a prescription, if you will. So people have toxic situations and toxic people in their life because it is a prescription. That's kind of messed up. Of some sort that you must take for a while to get over the sickness. And then you will no longer attract that toxic kind of people into your life. But some people get hooked on the prescription. They get hooked on the prescription and they go back asking for more and don't realize they're addicted to the prescription. Because we're talking about living our absolute best life, doing what brings us the greatest amount of joy, drawing in people into our lives that are absolutely wonderful to be with and to enjoy life with, and, you know, doing fun-filled, love-filled, joyful things. In order for that to happen, we may have to come through some of the addictions. The addictions that are drawing things into our lives that are interfering with the flow of goodness. Like I said, some addictions are pretty good, but of course, there must be balance in everything. There has to be balance in everything. Too much of anything is said to be out of balance. So that you have to have the ebbs and flows of life. You know, brings that homeostasis type thing, that balance, that equilibrium type thing. When you have a little bit of this and a little bit of that. How do you know what's good when you haven't experienced anything that didn't feel so good? So these are the necessities of life. But here's the caveat. When we call out these addictions as what somebody else is doing, when we do not take full responsibility for something that we've become addicted to, when we do not realize that the addiction is what is calling forth certain scenarios that we are looking to do away with, we will loop the same type of thing because we have not dealt with the addiction that attracts the things that are keeping us in a low place. Yeah. So, how do we do this? Hey, you have to give up stuff. you have to let go of stuff. You know, it's like someone having the food addiction. They know that they can't be around that. They can't, to go running back and forth, at least in the early stages, they have to give themselves a little time to detox and get off of it. You know what I mean? To shift some pathways within the mind that links up to things. You got to switch the lever to change some of the neural pathways that keep you running down that same road to the refrigerator or to the cabinet or to wherever it is the food is, to the stovetop after a certain hour or all day long. We have to realize that our addiction to negativity, to drama-filled negative stuff, our need to turn on and watch something that we know is not inspirational, our inability to stand clear of things that call our name. It's almost like someone dealing with alcohol. You know better than to go, especially in the early stages and maybe for some ever in life. You know better than to sit in a place where it's just the smell of alcohol is oozing throughout the place. You know that was the same thing. But sometimes where we are is unavoidable. It's not like we're going to a place where that is. It's just that it's in our hands, it's in our pockets, it's on the screens, it's everywhere. People talking about it. And so we're engaging in it. And the residue is what's calling on the toxic stuff. The energy that you absorb is what's landing you in stuff that's kind of sort of, crazy. So I don't know how clear this message is, but it's just to say that You have to call out your addiction. And this is why you have experts to say that, oh, we have anywhere between 50 and 80,000 thoughts passing through our minds a day. And we're only aware of anywhere between 2 and 10%, depending on how conscious we are. And then they go on to say that the majority of the thoughts, up in the 90%, are negative. But I beg to differ. I strongly believe it depends on the individual. There are some people that have a majority of good thoughts. I choose to believe that. Of beautiful thoughts. I choose to believe that. Of loving thoughts, of appreciation, thoughts of appreciation and gratitude. I choose to believe that that's the majority. That's, if there's a range of thoughts that are flowing to 90,000 thoughts flowing through anyone's mind, I'd love to know that it's predominantly positive. That the nature of the predominant thoughts are loving, kind, uplifting, joyful, beautiful thoughts. Because if we can get there, it will be the change. It will change so much of what's going on this day. But for as long as we continue to feed on whatever it is, even if we're good at heart, even though we're good at heart, the energy of the negative stuff that's coming in is what is connecting to like nature of things. So, quick word. Thank you so much for joining me again for another session of Choice Spirit. Namaste. Subscribe, hit the bell, the notification, hit the thumbs up so that, perhaps these videos can reach more people. I know this is not the other kind of stuff that brings a little more excitement, but, nonetheless, still subscribe and share. Much love. Thank you so much. Choice here. Namaste.